buy this for the engine, don't you?
What?
You just buy it for the engine.
What?
That's the deal.
Holy crap.
That 3.6 liter V8 really likes to rev. It revs so easily. 400 horsepower in this 2001 Ferrari 360 Modena Spider. Gated manual. This is actually a manual conversion. So this started as an F1 paddle car, and this is the way to get a cheap manual Ferrari. You're still going to spend, what, 80 grand on a donor car?
This is a good plan. And the way you do that is to take it to Rev9 Group, Brad and Braden Lystrup, and they will install a Modena Lucerna shift conversion that feels factory to me.
Yes, it's certainly better to extract the noise.
Oh my gosh. This car also has a Remus exhaust on it, so it's even louder. And it makes you want to flip the throttle and that flat plane crank, man. That's what gives that Ferrari flavor.
Great cars, great roads, and all the reasons we love to drive.
Road trips, comparisons, test drives, and podcasts. This is Everyday Driver.
This exhaust is actually too much when you're going slow, but on a day like this, top down, going fast, suddenly the loud exhaust makes sense because of how fast that engine spins and how glorious it sounds. So in the right condition, perfect exhaust choice. But otherwise, a lot. It's a lot. Like right now, going along behind a truck in traffic,
It's a lot.
when I'm yelling at you, I'm thinking, why do we have this exhaust? It's all relative. It's entirely about the occasion. It's like wearing ice skates to a dinner party. It's like, ice skates would have worked somewhere else. Right now, I'm feeling pretty embarrassed. That's where I'm at.
You know, I didn't think the Spider version of this would feel quite so tight. I thought it would feel a lot flimsier, like noodle-like.
Sure.
I've always thought that about Spider everything. And
Yeah.
I'm a little surprised. All aluminum construction, and this was truly a new car from that F355. I'm appreciating how good this feels. It just feels solid. Ferraris have that perception about being flimsy, and the fact that you shouldn't drive them.
Oh, sheep!
Sheep in the road.
Uh-huh.
Awesome. Well,
You'd think they'd run from the exhaust. Run, sheepies, run.
maybe that's why we have the exhaust.
Look for a black one.
I'm sure it's around here somewhere. This car feels like one you can kind of thrash. Like, kind of made to be beat on.
I feel like it has been beaten on. It has 22,000 miles, and it feels like that's earned every one of those miles, and they've been really hard. I am concerned about this feeling fragile, honestly. Sounds cool. The turn-in in this is really abrupt and kind of fantastic, but it doesn't feel robust to me.
It does stick, though.
It's interesting how much the front end on this car just dives in.
Yeah.
It's really quick, and I'm surprised, actually. It feels like the front end is a lot more agile than the back half of the car. It's this really aggressive front turn-in, and it's very fun, but the back half suddenly feels heavy by comparison. It does have an enormous frunk up there. You could put an entire person in the frunk of this car, I think. It is amazing how much space it has. So this is Ferrari actually trying to figure out how to make a more usable daily car, and I am putting daily in quotes, but the 360 was the beginning of that thinking, and that frunk is part of it.
For sure, and this was the car that everybody talked about, like, oh, you don't have to do engine out service.
Thank God.
Yes.
Why did you ever have to?
True.
Why was that ever okay? That's not okay. That's terrible. What are you doing? Anyway,
True,
yeah.
But still, it just kind of made it accessible to
Yep.
people. You know, this car doesn't have a screen on it.
Not
and
at
it's
all.
so refreshing.
Yeah,
It's because
true.
it's old school, not because we've gotten tired of screens and left them behind.
We've gotten tired of screens. We'd like to leave them behind.
But
Yeah.
it actually looks kind of fresh to my eye. It's just very clean. I think the instrument panel has aged well. Now, this car has been beat on a little bit. You can see where the steering wheel cover has been loosened so they can
had
move
to- yeah.
paddles. But otherwise, the materials are not of the highest quality, so they haven't really stood the test of time, but the design certainly has.
I feel like the design on this is big for this car, though.
It works. It's not falling
Yeah.
apart,
Yeah.
but it just feels like the interior of a bigger vehicle put into this smaller car.
For sure, for sure. The exterior has aged. Pininfarina design. I do like elements of it, and I do think the surfaces are a lot of volume to them, a lot of swell. That makes it very Ferrari. It ties it to the 60s cars with those swollen cycle fender kind of feel. And it's just classic and iconic at this point. I mean, 2 circular round taillights. It just defines Ferrari. And these always turn my head. It's not the most expensive Ferrari ever. I mean, you can make it that way by buying one and dumping all your money into it.
You
but
could do all of the above, yes.
It's still just a cool looking car. It's a moment in time here.
It still says Ferrari in any color. This 360 styling says Ferrari very clearly. In Spider form, even more so, even without the Scuderia shields on the side, which apparently is a big resale thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Even without those, this looks like a Ferrari. And the great thing about the 360 is this is that watershed moment. You mentioned no engine out service, when you can start to think about driving your Ferrari a lot. So that is a big shift here. And speaking of driving, you need to do it. You need to drive this.
Can't wait.
I'm going to start doing something stupid every time we swap seats. Anyway.
This car's really loud. You're right, this car dives right in, but you can turn it with the throttle. You can just... It just wants to go. Just add gas and it just goes right through. This car has me intrigued a lot because of the raw feeling. I feel like it's your Lotus Elise with a V8. It has that light,
it's got some feel about it.
Very light front end. It dives. It just has this motion to it that reminds me of your Elise with a lot more power and a lot more noise.
Yeah, noise especially. I mean, I would actually like to drive one of these in Spider form with the standard exhaust to see if it is a little more tolerable, because again, at the opportune moment, perfect exhaust. Any other time, wrong exhaust.
There's a lot of information through this steering wheel here. I really appreciate it. That's why it reminds me of your Lotus. You can feel the whole chassis vibrate, and I think it's because of the all aluminum construction. It shares that with your Lotus. It just
and
has
it's got
that
such a light front end. All of the weight's behind you.
I do like that a lot. And I like that it has performance in there that it wants me to come find.
True.
That's what I've always liked about this. And I might be starting to become a Ferrari nerd, enthusiast. Not acolyte.
So Paul, here's all you have to do.
Not off the deep end, just I like this car.
You just go to autotempest.com/everyday and you look up Ferrari 360s in decent condition. With a F1 gearbox. And then you spend another roughly 20 grand over and above whatever you bought that for to get it changed to a manual. Now, so theoretically, what you did is you found the world's nicest 360 for $70,000. Good luck. But the world's nicest, and then you take it and spend another 20, and you're out under 100 grand for a Ferrari with a gated manual and this engine noise.
This is a good plan. And the way you do that is to take it to Rev9 Group on Insta.
They did do a good job with it.
They'll install that. So find them, send them a note. Just connects you. I'm not sure this could be my only fun car, though.
Okay.
I want it.
Sure.
I want it as like a number 2.
All right.
Because you got to be in sort of a really just driving mood where stereo doesn't matter and interior niceties don't matter.
True.
And maybe some construction and fabrics and materials don't matter.
So the headspace I'm in when I drive my Elise, that's what you need.
That's why this is like your Elise.
This is, of course, that's right to brand, Paul, because your Elise is twice as expensive as mine. That's perfectly to brand. Well done.
Did I just do that to myself?
You did just do that to yourself. Well done.
So
That's
Auto Tempest.
We found your Elise.
On Auto Tempest, make sure you use autotempest.com/everyday so they know that we sent you. And you're already shopping because I know that you're thinking about finding the F1 shift transmissions, buying those for less, get your manual installed. Yes to all of that. See, look, she just sticks.
I would love to put some brand new modern tires on this because I think it would be worlds better. These tires are a little old, but it still does well.
brake pedal is different right there.
Uh-huh.
That feels different and
It
strange.
has a couple of different stages of feel. None of them are necessarily very good. We don't drive a lot of Ferraris on this channel.
No,
It's that whole everyday driver thing. They don't really work
true.
for the brand.
I like it though. I want
But
it.
of course you do.
I want it.
Of course you do. Yeah.
And not just because it's Ferrari.
I understand. It's fun.
It's a cool car.
It is cool. The engine does a lot for you.
Yeah.
The gearbox helps.
Yeah.
Yeah.